Hello everybody, Dave Womach here from BirdTricks. As you can see from behind me, we are at Blake's Exotic Animal Ranch here in Florida, which you can also tell by the rain on my shirt. And we're gonna check out one of the coolest waterfowl aviaries and show you some ideas on how we can turn that into a fantastic parrot aviary. Let's go.
What's happening?
I have to do more. So this is Blake's otter enclosure. Now, if you want to see a lot more of that, you can check out Capri's video on BirdTricks Kids. But when we were looking at this and kind of talking about it, it was like, hey, this is actually not a bad idea to take some of the concepts of this to apply it to a large parrot aviary, because although in our industry we don't really like using galvanized metal, that can be powder coated. And you were saying these 24-foot sticks of galvanized 2x2 is like $57.
Yeah.
Okay. What I would love to see, and like kind of comparing it with the waterfowl enclosure, is different ideas of how you could adapt this building method to get something that big.
Yeah. So for you guys, yeah, I mean, exactly just like how this is would probably be really good. But then if it matters what species of bird, if you want to go really high up, and then if you really want to go high up, then it's obviously going to be more money and material for more mesh. And then if you want to add trees and stuff in it, certain trees are going to have to be the matter as well, the trees you pick.
And what was the gauge on this, did you say?
This is 14 gauge.
14 gauge, so probably not ideal for a macaw.
No.
But, you know, having a powder-coated 14 gauge wire, there are parrot species that we could use to put in here, or just simply get a heavier gauge. A hyacinth can break steel welds, so what do you do, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You add a lot more enrichment.
Say for you guys, if you're able to make an enclosure this big, how many parrots do you think would be okay in this?
So that's a really interesting thought. So when it comes to parrots, it's all about fight or flight.
Yeah.
And if you have the ability for them to get away and fly, usually they're not going to just stand on the ground and fight. And I say usually because there's no certainty with it. But given enough space with birds that are all fully capable, you start to eliminate those fights and they're more likely to fly. So in something this size, what was the dimensions on this? Okay. 16 by 40, we'll call it?
Yeah.
So yeah, 16 by 40, we could definitely, I would say, and Jamie might argue, we could put like Comet and Tusa in there, and they would probably, our two Camelot macaws would probably go find their own spot and be pretty good. We could probably have our Glot and our Gray.
For how long is questionable.
That's the thought. I'm like, you know, if we add others to that.
Yeah, the problem is the dynamic between parrots really changes over time. So our birds used to get along really great the younger they were, and as they've gotten older, they've had less tolerance for each other.
Yeah.
I would love to think that 4 of them could work in this aviary, but I don't think it could go on long term.
Yeah, so the way we would use something like this is we would put probably like two macaws out in there, and they could be in there for a week, 2 weeks, and then we'd rotate them out. So like going and getting ready for a flight trip, or we take our birds outside, we're free flying. We'd put them out here for a month or two, let them condition themselves, and then when we take the macaws, we might throw in a different bird that's not going to be on that flight trip. In an 8x8 aviary, it's a lot of laps to get a mile, right? So this type of distance gives them that ability to build that stamina up, so that when we go outside and we're flying, they already have the strength and the stamina to get back. An interesting thing about free-flying birds is when they're not fully conditioned, you hear these fly-offs happen, but what happens is they get stuck going into the wind because they lack the muscle development to make a controlled turn and go downwind. So this kind of thing would be perfect for us.
Thank you.
and it needs to come with otters.
Yeah.
No, you can't put otters in there. That won't end well.
But I mean, they're so cute. I want to see birds as happy as these otters in an enclosure, though, seriously.
Non-stop playing with each other.
Yeah, if our birds got along as well as these two otters, we could house a lot of birds in there.
So once a year, there's a cap that's on the bottom of this pond that we can open up and we suck it all out. So when we're doing that, all the good water, we can put it down to the 2,000 gallon holding tanks. We don't lose all that water, clean it, and do it over.
So like a septic tank for
Ponds.
Swimming creatures.
Yep, yep.
So, you know, if you're ever thinking about spending your billions of dollars that you earned and want to do this for yourself and you want to have a little water feature, obviously, if you have parrots, you don't want 2-3 feet of water, but it might be really cool to have some area with a little bit of water that you could have some fish in or whatever you wanted that to look like.
Oh, if the day I make my aviary for that, there's definitely be streams and little waterfalls and all that because it'll just be as natural as it is. Yeah. When I've been to Costa Rica, you see all the scarlet macaws flying. They have to find water somehow, so they have to go to the streams and the rivers. So from the top to the bottom, they're using it all. Yeah. So it'd be really cool to put that with their enclosure as well.
Yeah, and that's something that you don't hear talked about, like water cleaning systems for an aviary in our world, right? It's pretty rare. So I love that you get to share this with us and we get to see how it can be applied with other animals. Obviously, you don't want otters or other bird-eating species or things that could eat birds in your aviary, but this is really cool. I'd love this. This inspires me. I'd love to do something like this for ours.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Thank you.
So in the waterfowl enclosure, you mentioned that all the plants you planted were specific and that they could eat almost everything in that area.
Correct.
So when it comes to parrots, we have to be very aware of what plants or anything could be toxic, and even like chemicals and sprays and perfumes. Yeah. But you've really thought that through. Can you kind of explain what thought process went through as you were?
I have a mentor that keeps a lot of parrots and different types of birds and stuff of that sort, and he's a big plants guy. So I'm sure there's another word for that. But he really helped me out to figure out all the different types of fruit trees and plants to put inside the enclosure. So I pretty much trusted him, and then I did a little bit of research on my end as well and talked to other people and other breeders, and that's pretty much what we did over there. And different types of fruits and stuff that I already feed them are inside of that enclosure. So that's pretty much what I put inside there.
So what are some of those plants that you have?
There's papaya inside of it. There's a strawberry tree in there. There's a lychee tree in there. There's a mulberry tree in there. There's a Japanese blueberry tree in there. Gumbo limbo tree. It's a native tree from Florida. Quite a couple more different bushes. I know there's Green Island ficus inside of there. There's a ton of different plants. There's probably around 15 to 20 different species of plants that are inside there.
That's awesome.
And then I went off of animals that I know I keep here too, is turtles and tortoises. There's a lot of plants in there too that I can cut back and feed to the turtles and tortoises because it grows so much in there. So it works in two ways. So it's covered for the birds, and then I can cut back and then feed it to the turtles as well. So thinking in my mind, if the turtles can eat it, most likely it should be fine for the birds as well. So that's kind of what I did, came off of as well.
Cool, great thought process.
Yeah.
Now you were saying that you want to build, and we're kind of taking this opportunity to see, hey, if we could combine all these and make something for parrots, that'd be great for us, but obviously that's something that's in the works for you. Yeah. Do you have any kind of design ideas that you're looking for?
Like what you said earlier, I always tell everybody on my channel, bigger is always better. You can see those birds flying would be amazing. I've been quite a few different places around the world, and seeing parrots, I can hear them from a mile away. I love hearing birds in the wild, and I'm going to Peru soon, so I'm going to see more parrots in the wild. I always like waking up and seeing them. Bird watching is definitely cool to do. And to see the birds flying up high, the higher, I think the better. I don't know, just big. I have an area over there that's real big. I can make it like it's 250 foot long by 50 foot wide, so.
But obviously for that, we were talking earlier on your channel about how you want to use Zoom Mesh.
Yeah, Zoom Mesh would be
that was $190,000?
Yeah, so I was making it bigger, it'd be even crazy. I'd have to figure out different things of that. Because the mesh like this is just, it's not as flexible as Zoom Mesh. Zoom Mesh, you can bend it, fold it, twist it, however you want, compared to this type of mesh that's only made for a certain square. So I kind of did my best with this and try to make it kind of like visible in the front. So I didn't use metal framing here. I just hog ringed it, so you kind of see it's kind of like sticks together, so there's not all that framing in the front for video and everything. So the Zoom Mesh would make it better.
Yeah, Zoom Mesh is like netting that parrots can't eat through.
And it's just like invisible, like it's literally Zoom Mesh.
Yeah.
They're granted and they have all the money to do whatever they want, so they can do it.
Yeah, so if you want to help him be able to attain this goal, go over to Blake's Exotic Animal Ranch. Make sure you're commenting and liking and really get engaged in that. That really helps the algorithm. I know that people talk about that on some channels. We don't talk about it a whole lot, but it definitely helps. So go over there and argue on his channel, not on ours. And that's going to help you be able to monetize that video a little better and get to your $190,000 goal for the Zoom Mesh.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Something else I love about the otter enclosure that I would love to do with our parrots, because we live in snow country, is be able to have the whole outdoor area, but to the side here is an air-conditioned hurricane-proof building. We don't need to worry about that in Idaho, but it's got air conditioning. You can put a mini fridge in there for all of your fresh produce. You could have a wash station, but you can also have an indoor cage set up so your birds can get in and out of the weather whenever they want.
Like now.
Let's go in.
Yeah, Marty.